Hello, everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of the 2 Minute Drive podcast. I'm Palace alongside my co-host, Abraham Trevino. What's up, buddy? How was your Christmas?
Hey, what's up? It was great, man. How was yours?
Good. I had to work, so long day. Was pretty much occupied with that, and then got to watch some Saturday night football. I think the Pats got one for me against the Broncos, and
Right,
there's stuff to talk about there, including some breaking news this past week.
right.
But what would you think overall, Week 16 in the books? Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, Cowboys and the Dolphins game.
Mm,
That one, man, I was really hoping for a win there. A little concerned on for the Cowboys. We'll see how that goes. We'll talk more about that later. The other game, the Ravens and the Niners.
yeah,
I think it was man, who was it? Flora, Mike Flora,
Mike
Floria,
Florio.
Floria. Talking about like the rant that the 49ers were going to smash the Ravens and I think they even benched Brock, right? In the game, like towards the fourth quarter or something like that.
Well, they didn't bench him. He suffered some kind of stinger, and they took him out. And Shanahan just didn't want to risk anymore because they were already like too far behind.
Yeah, well
So that's the reason why he got pulled.
he threw four picks and then here comes freaking Darnold and then he threw a pick and man, I told you, Robert, don't sleep on that Ravens defense. They're
Yeah,
the ones.
Ravens defense did step up. They were really good. But there has to be context when we talk about that because one of the big issues was Trent Williams going down for that offensive line for the Niners, and if that happens, that the whole line becomes a mess. So I've stated before with the Niners, if any of the pieces go out, it's not the same team. So I'm attributing that to a lot of what happened with the offense. I know Brock Purdy threw four picks. I
Yeah.
think two or three of those were tipped. So I mean, yeah, we're gonna put it on him because he's the quarterback, but also like they weren't like straight interceptions to the other team. Like there was luck and bouncing and all that stuff. So I mean, overall, it wasn't the 49ers night, but I can see this matchup happening again in the Super Bowl. So and it'll be different.
Yeah, one more game or one more matchup that I want to just mention is the Browns and the Texans.
Hmm.
And I know the Texans they don't have CJ Stroud, or they didn't. But Joe Flacco, I mean, he was wanting to go to the Jets and be reunited with them, and then he ended up going to the Browns, and I think there was even a point where he was in the locker room and he was like, I don't even know how much I'm getting paid, but he's just there playing, and man, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think he's doing a lot better than when Watson was healthy.
For sure. The history of the NFL is too big, but has there ever been something like this that's happened where a quarterback basically, I mean, he was basically on the couch doing nothing for most of the season,
Right.
and he comes back and he's got this team in a position to go into the playoffs. They're 10-5 right now, so if
Mhm.
they win out, they're for sure getting in. And I mean, that does is Flacco going to have like a late career resurgence? Like, will he get a contract somewhere?
You almost got to think, he should. I think he should. But those were the games that kind of stood out last
There's,
for
I
this.
mean, there's going to be teams that are going to need quarterbacks out there next season. You got Atlanta, you got,
Carolina.
no,
Well,
I
no,
think
not
they're
Carolina.
gonna they're gonna give it a shot with this rookie. But you mean you look at Tennessee, you look at all these other teams, Washington. They kind of need that veteran presence where they're not gonna like draft as high. So I don't know. Even Denver might be an option. Who knows? I mean, with what's going on, we can talk about that right now. The big story this week is that Russell Wilson has been benched for the final two games of the Broncos season, so that pretty much puts to bed that his run there is over and they're going to bite the bullet with his contract.
Yeah. So I was hearing a little bit about that, and it's about the money because I
Yeah.
think that they were trying to like kind of get him to waive like his injury clause or something like that.
Well, that's a
Or
that's a big reason why they benched him was they don't want him to get hurt because I think it's something like he's old like I don't know if it's 37 or 39
37,
next March if he can't pass
30,
the physical. So they want to
right.
make sure like that he's healthy.
So I'm guessing he might be like a post what June or July cut, right? Is it
Somewhere
July?
somewhere around there.
So it looks like they're going to cut, right? Because this is the first year of that 5-year extension that they did with him.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say, Robert, about Russell Wilson. I mean, when he was in Seattle, I mean, was it Pete Carroll and that staff, the coaching staff that made Russell the way he, the player that he was, and then going to Denver, I mean, was that just um I mean, it's a huge turnaround, huge
Yeah.
because I mean, Russell Wilson was clutch, even against that what was it, the conference game against the Packers?
Yeah.
They came back and he was clutch. I was looking at highlights of that the other day, and he was just clutch. And so, I mean, I don't know, Robert. I mean, what do you from this whole thing, like the whole situation? I mean, what is your take on that?
I just think he's a little bit out of his prime already. When he was in Seattle, it was kind of like the Patrick Mahomes thing where it was a lot of street ball and a lot of like extended plays and, not stuff by the books. I mean, you talk about that NFC title game that you just mentioned, like a lot of the comeback plays in that game were just a bunch of plays that were extended and lobbing it in the air and seeing, pretty much just like, hey, let's see who can grab it. And in Denver with Sean Payton, it's going to be a little bit more structured. He's got a playbook. He's got a play sheet. Pete Carroll's not an offensive guy. He's a defensive guy. So that
Right,
was a bulk of their success there was the Legion of Boom. But over here with the Broncos, you know, Peyton's got his stuff set up and Russell just could not effectively operate the offense the way he wanted it. So, and you could see the frustration. I'm sure everybody's seen like the video online of him just yelling at
right.
Russell and it's public. So, and that just goes to show that he wasn't the guy. And like I said, it's half like him out of his prime already, and just the other half just he's not fitting the system that Peyton's trying to run there.
Well, Russ is only 35 years old, man. So I don't know. I mean, but I'm looking back on his Seattle days, and his receivers were, like Curse. I think he had Lockett as well, Baldwin, and then of course he had, the beast mode, Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
So he had that. I mean, and then now they have DK, and then they still got Lockett. But over here in Denver, I mean, he has receivers in Jerry, Judy, and Sutton. And I mean, there's no running backs. I mean, I think Williams or something like that. He might be, up and coming as well. But I don't know. I think maybe that whole change of scenery. They always say change of scenery is good, and I
But
don't
this
think
was
this.
his change of scenery, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think this. I don't think this was the change of scenery. I don't know. And I think they're saying. I mean, they're saying he's going to get a contract somewhere else, but I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think.
he'll have a market somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's going to be with the Broncos. I mean, but that's crazy, man. Because remember when this whole shindig was going down, and when they announced that they traded him to Denver, and you and I were like, oh shit, like Russell Wilson's going to Denver. This is going to be, they could be the favorites now in the AFC,
Hmm.
where they're in their division. And then he gets there, right? And then we're talking, and then we change our whole opinion about him because it's just like, damn, it was a shit ass show, because that was his first year and he didn't do shit
Yeah.
in Denver, and they were bad. I think they were what, 3 and something or 4 and something, 4-11.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks, Robert, because I mean, he's not a bad player. It's just some
Yeah,
bad
it's
juju.
just, I mean, the right elements have to come together for everything to work. I mean, yes, for every Manning that goes to Denver or Brady goes to Tampa, Stafford to LA, they're the right pieces for the right structure that they need for those organizations. And they're not all going to be hits. And, you've seen it in the NBA too, like
Yeah,
Jordan with the Wizards didn't work. And I know he was already out of his prime, but, it was still Jordan, but still then he couldn't make it work there. So I guess we can look at it kind of like that. Even though Russell, I mean, I know he has a Super Bowl, but I really don't put him like in the all-time greats list, because even Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls. So,
yeah,
and I think Russell's a little bit of a better quarterback than him, but still, I don't consider him like when it's all said and done, like a top 15 QB of all time or anything like that.
right.
Um, Another thing I wanted to talk about was the the destruction that the Chiefs faced on what was it? Believe it was Christmas Eve against the Raiders. I mean, my goodness. The way my dad described it, I didn't get to see the game. I saw highlights, but he was like, "Man, it was like the Super Bowl all over again." Just the way that Raiders defense dominated the Chiefs, and I don't know, man. I'm starting to think like I think they could be one and done in the playoffs. I know I have them locked in as my Super Bowl pick, only because I for some reason have an ugly feeling in my stomach that they'll get willed there by some other force, and by that I mean like either questionable calls or whatever. They'll get things to go in their favor, but I don't know, man. If teams, this is like the right year to like where they're wailing and a team can just come in and knock them out, even if they're not the best. If their defense can just step up, what do you think?
Yeah, I was so unfortunately I have DirecTV and we don't have Ken or not Ken, CBS. We don't have
Uh-huh.
CBS because of some like contract dispute.
Oh, they're in a
But I
contract
was
dispute. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they blocked out that channel, which pissed me
Mm-hmm.
off. But I saw highlights because I was watching the Fox game
Mm-hmm.
and they were showing, how they do the game breaks. And I think the safety's name is Love that
Mm-hmm.
went and he picked off um Mahomes, and then he's running it back for a pick six and he's just staring down
That was the
Mahomes the whole
best. I
time.
love it.
I was, oh my gosh, and I was like in your face, and you know what, Robert? Oh my gosh. They had to freaking show Taylor Swift and freaking Brittany Mahomes. Freaking, they're like, oh my gosh, like we're losing or what's going
The world's
on. And
falling apart.
yeah, and then this was the game when that Fugaz freaking threw his helmet, right? Freaking
Yeah, Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And and then there was this other play where I don't know what happened. I think he was trying to hand it off. They fumble it, and
Mm-hmm.
freaking one of the defensive guys of Las Vegas just shoves the Chiefs guy out of the way, picks it up, and it
This
was
all happened
dominant.
within like a minute, right? Because it was like that
Yeah,
fumble or it
yep.
was either the pick happened first and then the fumble, or vice
The
versa.
pick the pick happened first, and then it was the fumble within. I think they said like 90 seconds. It was
Yeah.
90 seconds of that happening back to back. And man, last week or the week before when the Raiders played the Chargers and the Raiders defense was just annihilating them. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, well, because it's a Fugaz, maybe they got, one of them was going to be good. And then I was like, okay, it's a kind of like a one game and done, like a one hit wonder. But the Raiders defense, Max Crosby, man, if you got that guy like on a team, like an actual team that's
Mm-hmm.
doing something that's making noise, I mean, this guy, I don't know, but
I just laugh because the media plays it off like, or they've been playing this whole thing off all season. Like, well, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you're good. But you're seeing like what he looks like without like top weapons.
yeah,
And I think somebody put a tweet out, and I kind of I think I liked it or retweet. I might have just liked it. Where he was like, "Oh, this is what Patrick Mahomes would have looked like in Chicago," because I think Chicago could have
oh,
drafted him.
right, yes,
So it's like Patrick Mahomes landed in the right spot with the right coach, and he had Tyreek and Kelsey in his prime, and now as his contract starts to sit in, he doesn't get to have those elite weapons. Obviously, they lost Tyreek. He wanted more money, couldn't afford him. Kelsey's, I feel like, out of his prime already. He looks always banged up and not the same. So he aged out real quickly. And now, and I know like they'll be like an okay team in the years to come, but like for Mahomes with that contract that he's got, it's gonna be tougher. And I know everyone was real quick to say like, "Oh, Brady, he's gonna win as many Super Bowls, if not more, than Brady." And it's like people just forget how hard it is to sustain that. And another you know, just thing that gets overlooked about Tom Brady was him always restructuring his contract so they can keep guys that he wanted and maybe
right.
get a free agent or two. And everybody else just wants the quarterback to get the bag and get paid. And it's like, that's not the right way to go if you want to build a dynasty.
No, definitely not the way to go. But I'm liking it.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, they're definitely out of the running for the number one seed, so they are going on the road at some point. I know though if they win the division, they'll host one game, but if they win out of there, it's the rest of it's going to be on the road, and they've never been on the road in the playoffs.
Love it.
All right. I think that's anything else about week 16 you want to discuss?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, let's jump into our power rankings for this week, post week 16. Do you have your list ready to go?
I do. Yes,
All right,
sir.
I'll let you kick us off. Who's your number 5 this week?
So my number 5 was the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, baby.
Man, Baker. I think I saw something. I think he was saying like he said something where he's like he wants to be in Tampa. Like that's
Yeah,
where he wants to be at. And man, it'd be great if they sign Evans again. I mean, if they do something there, because I mean, him and Evans are kind of connected. Not kind of, but they are connecting.
yeah,
And it would be great if they added, in the offseason, like another weapon on the wide receiver two side. Godwin, I don't know what happened to that guy. That guy like fell off, man. And maybe trade him and see what happens, see what they can get out of that. But yeah, I got the Bucks at number 5.
my number 5 is we talked about them earlier. The Cleveland Browns are just surprising right now, and I got laughed at this week on my list, but people just don't understand the way this list works. And also, for the most part, most of the my friends on Facebook are Cowboys fans, and like 85% of them like only watch Cowboys games, so they don't watch the rest of the league. There are other teams that are doing well besides the Cowboys, and the Cleveland Browns is one of those teams. And I know you can laugh them off, but they're 10-5. They got a ferocious defense, and Joe Flacco's playing decent enough that you know. I guess I don't. I hate to say game manager because every quarterback who manages the game is a good quarterback, but he's doing the job well enough, and they are going to end up in the playoffs because of it when it could have easily been a lost season with Deshaun Watson going out, even though he wasn't helping them out to begin with. So this is
Right.
this is an upgrade for them. So and they're rocking. I got them number 5.
Oh yeah.
Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be the Buffalo Bills. They annihilated the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I know they barely beat the Chargers by
Yeah,
like it was like by 2 points, but
the only reason they're not on my top 5.
I mean, yeah, but I had to put them because I think they're rising. So we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. But I got the Bills.
Yeah, Colin Coward made a good point about that, and because he got shit for putting the Bills high on his list, and he was just like, "Hey, look, man, they had a big game against the Cowboys. They won. They came back down to earth. Obviously, they were feeling themselves a little bit, but still found a way to win. So that's all that matters in the end is the W, which they did get. But as far as my list, like other teams deserved it. On top of that, I might probably would have had the number 6, so not that far off. For me, number 4, let's go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And any way you slice it, they put up another 30 plus points on a Jaguars team that made the playoffs last year. And I know Trevor Lawrence is kind of like on the injury list with other stuff. There's multiple things going on with him right now. He had barely gotten cleared off of the concussion protocol. And also, I think he had a shoulder injury by the time the end of that game was coming around. So things played into the Tampa Bay's favor, but can't also deny that they're playing really good football right now. If the defense is also stepping up to Devin White back in the lineup, I think he's secured some record with the Bucks as far as like sacks or something like that. So he, after having a letdown like a few weeks ago where it looked like he phoned it in or just didn't want to be with the team anymore, he definitely cleaned that up this week. And if they can continue to play like this, I think they can surprise in the playoffs and win a game. So if that ends up being Dallas or the Eagles, I really think I don't know if I'm ready to say they could beat them, but they can give them a run for their money because it'll be a home game and they're basically playing with house money. And Baker Mayfield has really nothing to prove. So it's to me, it's already just an overachievement if they make the playoffs. But either way, like the Bucks are looking good, and as I stated on Facebook, they're heating up at the right time. So it doesn't matter what your record is; it's how you're playing at the end of the year. And right now, they're playing really good football.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Who's your number 3?
My number 3 are the Miami Dolphins. Another team that took out the Cowboys again, second week in a row. Wasn't total utter destruction, but they won by 2.
W is
But
W.
still, but still, yeah, but still, I mean, I watched this game, and it's just the Cowboys beating themselves like usual.
Hmm.
I was telling a couple of people, a couple of my buddies, that the Cowboys, they're that team where they're not balanced. Like either the offense is doing really badass and the defense is doing shitty, or it's the defense doing badass and the offense is being shitty. So I think that's what's going on right now. They're just off balance. But yeah, Dolphins. Tyreek was all over the place still, and Tua didn't have that bad of a game, and so I'm gonna go Dolphins.
Yeah, I have Miami number three as well. Wasn't too impressive of a win, but they got the job done against an above 500 team that's headed to the playoffs. So that's just good momentum for them. Going back to Dallas a little bit, you said the inconsistency. I think it would have helped them a little bit and I think Tennessee wasn't going to give them up, but if they would have tried to make a run for like a Derrick Henry, that
Yeah.
would have helped you guys tremendously because you guys
Oh yeah.
cannot run the ball and
Yeah.
it becomes the Dak show and we know what happens there. Like we just we have too much data to show that that's not the winning recipe for you guys. And your record shows also on the road like you guys just aren't the same team. So and from the way it looks, if Philadelphia wins out, even if you guys win out, they're going to end up winning the division. You guys are going to have to go on the road, and that's not a good thing for you. And someone said, I think it was brought up on the herd this week. It's like there's two possible scenarios. So it's like, what would be worse? Um, no, the worst case scenario would be winning your first round playoff game, but then you get knocked down in the second round, and even though it's not a big blowout, but you lose and you just run it back the same thing next year. Or you get surprised and thumped by someone like, say, Tampa, and Jerry decides to clean house and bring in a new coach or whatever. I want to talk hypothetical really quickly because I want to ask you, like, just for you being a Cowboys fan, let's throw Super Bowl out the window. You're not winning it this year. What would you prefer? The first scenario I just said to you, or the second?
The first one was
It's
to
getting to the
get
second round. You
nah.
get knocked
I
out. You get knocked out, but it's close, and then they just run it back with the same team and coach next year. Or you get
nah.
thumped in the wild card and they clean house.
Getting thumped in the wild card and cleaning house. I know some people may not agree with that, but McCarthy is not. You see, the problem is that when we had Jason Garrett, we held on to him, or Jerry held on to him for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I think 2 of those years I think we made the playoffs. I think, and then it was just those 8-8 records. Then he finally was like, enough is enough. Here we are with year five, I think, year five or year six with McCarthy. And,
Damn, has it
I
been
think
that long already?
yeah, I think it's time. I want to say give it over to Dan Quinn. I mean, because you don't want to let that guy go somewhere else because he might come and freaking pummel your ass, or pummel our ass. But
But then
I,
what do you do for the offensive side of the ball? Who do you get for
I,
coordinator?
I say you go get you like, isn't who's Frank Reich? Isn't he an offensive guy, an offensive
Oh yeah,
coordinator? I don't think he went to Philadelphia after all. I think,
you better hope Philly doesn't pick him up at some point.
yeah, yeah. I think Sirianni's gonna. I think he's doing the play calling for that. And he said it's too late in the year to pick anybody up or to bring him on the coaching staff. But I was
Yeah,
thinking maybe Frank Reich. You go and get him to be your offensive guy. But yeah, Robert. To be honest, I'd rather get dumped out. Get bounced out and then clean house, and then also maybe I don't know, go in and get players. I think now, I think even before the trade deadline, the Cowboys should have gone and looked at maybe adding another piece on the defensive side and adding like a receiver on the offensive side. I think,
hmm
and you're right. Yeah, Derrick Henry, that would have been a great piece because I think Tony Pollard, the only reason why he was successful last year was because of Zeke, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we got to see what happens.
What do you think that doofus would pick? He'd probably pick the first one. Like, no, no, let's go to the second round, and
Oh
then it's
yeah,
close, and then we run it back.
that's why I said some people would probably disagree with what I said, and he's one of them. He's one of those
Yeah.
people because he'd be like, "Nah, man, you're ridiculous. Go second round." Like, no, man, I'd rather get bounced first round and let's start fresh.
it's insanity if they think that that's the formula and they just keep running it back and forth. Like, what's insanity? Doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you see like some of these teams where they get coaches like Houston, for example. Wasn't oh gosh, man. Okay, so they got rid of that guy, right? Damn, what's his name? The one that traded Hopkins. He was
Oh,
horrible.
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, right? So they got rid of him, and then they signed who was it that was there only not even a year, and they let him go, right? Is that that's the right? I can't remember.
Yeah, I forgot. Wasn't it the guy from the Browns? I don't know. I could be wrong.
It
I'm
was
not.
yeah. No, Lovey Smith.
Oh, okay,
Lovey
okay.
Smith.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Lovie Smith.
yeah, Lovey Smith, and then a year like they had that bad year, and they fired him, and then they get gosh damn, I don't even know who they have now. I remember his name, but anyway, he's there. They might win the division, now.
Yeah,
So you got to look at these teams that get rid of these coaches when it's the right time, like a year or whatever. Like us, the Cowboys, they stick on with these guys for like decades, and it's just like
yeah,
no man, like you want to win now. So
yeah. It's just a faster league now. Like, if you don't get it done, and we saw freaking the Rams do this. Like, hey, Jared Goff got this team to a Super Bowl, and they're like, nope, that wasn't good enough. Let's go trade
right,
up for Matthew Stafford. So, um, yeah. I mean, for your guys' sake, I would go the second route. And I know we're talking too much. We're still on our power rankings, but I just wanted to ask you that hypothetical.
yeah,
So both our number threes were the Dolphins.
right,
Let me kick it off with our number two. Mine is going to be the Detroit Lions, winning their first NFC North, I believe, division since 2016. I believe was the last time they
right,
won it.
yes,
Um, so good pickup for them. They're officially in the playoffs. They have a big test this week, which is my game of the week. Just a little heads up for our audience there. We'll talk about that later. But they are rolling, man. Back for the last, we can go back to 3 weeks ago where I wasn't sure about this team. They needed
right,
to get back on that groove because they were kind of stumbling a bit with turnovers and all this stuff, and we're kind of started questioning the legitimacy of them. But they're kind of back in form a little bit. But this weekend will be a good test for them. But right now I have them really high at number two. We'll see. We'll see if they can. I doubt they can get to the number one, but we'll see after this weekend.
right. Um, just to piggyback off of what I had the Lions as my number two as well.
Yeah.
Um, Minnesota kind of was in there for a little bit, was in that game a little bit, and then Mullins threw that pick.
Yeah.
So I mean that kind of saved the Lions. But yeah, you're right. They do have a big test coming up this weekend, this Saturday night, and this is where we got to see. I mean, yeah, they won the division, they locked it up, but if they can get the win this weekend, this tells a lot about that team. So I like
Because
what's going on.
I think they're still kind of in the running for the number one seed too. So
Right.
they still have a lot to play for.
Oh yeah. So well, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I have the Lions.
All right. I'll let you go first for the number one.
My number one is the Ravens.
I have
They
them. I have them as well. So we'll be talking both at the same
they
time.
put a clinic on the 49ers, Robert. They
They
put a clinic on them.
they
And
did.
and honestly, you know, going into this game, I thought it was going to be like one of them like battles where it was like defense, like defense against defense. Like was the Ravens defense going to be give havoc to Purdy, and then was Niners defense going to, Lamar, and it's just I told you this, Robert. Lamar has that arm,
Hmm.
but he can also do it with his legs,
Yeah.
and that's what he did. He did both. And but the defense was more effective than maybe the offense we can say. But
Yeah.
but
I
I mean
agree with that.
it was just man, breathtaking. It was great.
Yeah. For my side of things, now my hope is that they can stay like this and knock out if they have to play Kansas City in the playoffs. Because right now the bar for them is like, hey, can Lamar get to the big game? So if they
Right.
can't do it this year, then I've probably lost any faith that Lamar and the Ravens can ever get it done because this is the perfect year for them to get to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. So the only thing that's going to stop them, and again, it's the same thing with the 49ers, is injuries and, just staying healthy. But if they play like this, they can beat anybody, including the Kansas City Chiefs, which will be weird because I don't know. I just feel like Vegas will, for some reason, let's say that's the AFC title game. You think just based on experience, they're gonna favor the Chiefs, right?
Right. Yeah, of
So
course.
that'll be the big test for Lamar. They can lock up the number one seed this weekend with a win. We'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, man, all their props. For me, it's just, can the Ravens do this in the postseason? I've always known them to be a good team. They were always a big threat to me and the Patriots back in Brady's prime there. So I've always known this team as someone to reckon with. The thing is just, can they get over the hill? Because we've seen it do it with Flacco. Can they do it with Lamar now? That's the big question. But
Right.
and just real quickly, like, just because the 49ers aren't on here doesn't mean I don't think they're not good. People, again, just misconception of what this list is, and people laugh at me or whatever. It's like, oh, well, it's not, everything's based on records. Like, you have
Yeah.
to look at what's going on with it. Like right now, like, you could say the hottest team in the NFC, the Bucks are one of the hottest teams in the NFC right now. I was like, is that not arguable? Like, or am
No.
I wrong?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, we factor all of that in, folks, not just records. Jake may do a top 5 based on records, but that's not how I've done my power ranking list. And I've done these for like a few years now on social media, and people still don't get it for some reason, except for, like, the people that, really pay attention, and Abe understands how this works. So, it's all on what's going on during the season and what's going on right now. So, yeah, just wanted to clarify that for people that continue to laugh off our rankings.
Our rankings, yeah.
All right, let's move on to how we did on our picks for week 16.
Yeah, so I went 11-5.
Mm.
Robert, you went 11-5 as well.
Oh, okay, Adam.
Not bad. Jake went 10-6. We didn't have a special guest this week or that week, so for the year I went 143-81. Robert's 134-90. Jake's 123-98, and then our special guest combined is 51-35.
51-35. Okay.
I think Jake kind of piggybacked off of us, but anyway.
Yeah. We won't forget your picks this week, Jake. Calm down. He will be back next week, folks. He's out with a what is it? A torn cracked orbital bone in the face. But he will be back next week. He's been on the IR for most of the latter part of the season. But the latter part of the season is what matters, folks. That's where the Iron Survivors are. That's where the elite of the elite are. And speaking of elite, my friend, you and I are facing each other in the Super Bowl of fantasy in your league. Do we want to talk a little bit about that? Hype the audience up.
It's media week, man. Media week. I was freaking, I was stressing out. I remember in the group chat, I was like, I lost, I'm out,
Yeah.
I'm done. And
so there's
Robert's
there's a tale of two stories with this. So let's talk about me first, because I thought this was a 1 week elimination thing. So the week before, I was already declaring victory, and I'm like, oh, I'm heading to this. I'm glad I didn't post it on social media, because then I would have been bad karma on myself. But until I got with Abe and said, oh, it's a 2 week thing, and I was like, what? I was like, I probably I shit the bet now because of that. But and then on your side of the things, what happened with you?
Man, I thought I was out. I thought because my players took a dump on me, and I was like, man, I thought it was, I was out. The guy, my buddy, he was like, yeah, man, great game. Sorry that I had to beat you. And I was like, dude, we still got 1 more week. And he was all like, oh, it's 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, it's 2 weeks. Ended up getting the victory. My guys came through. Just great. This is Super Bowl 5 or Super Bowl Fantasy 5, and now it's Robert and I again. This is kind of like the remember when the Pats always go to the Super Bowl? It was Pats and what more like the Giants or the
But there was a
Eagles.
gap in between that. It was never back to back. So this is like a rare thing that happens in the NFL or in in our version of the NFL world.
Right. So I mean, we'll see what happens. You and I have some quarterbacks that are banged up. I think Kyler Murray's he's sick or he has like an illness, so he didn't practice. And I think Love's okay. And then I'm hearing that Stroud's going to play. So I mean, and the same thing with your quarterback situation. So hey
Yeah,
man, anything can happen.
yeah. I'm still not. Well, I don't think I'm. This maybe for next week, since this is going to be a 2 week thing now that we know. I may start Stafford this week, and then maybe not the next week because they're going to play the 49ers. So it's going to be a tough one for Stafford there. And I still have Minshew, and they still have a lot to play for. So I've got an interesting thing to look at as far as my roster goes. But
You
it's been fun here in Vegas for Media Day. I'm wearing the colored jerseys, being the home team with the best record in the league all season, or clinched the number 1 seed. So Abe will be wearing the white jerseys. The point spread came out. I'm a touchdown favorite, 7.5 point favorite. So that's basically a touchdown. We'll see. We'll see how the line comes as we head towards game day, which will be a 2 week thing. But I'm looking forward to it. We'll see who comes out on top. I'm sure Jake is screaming that he's not involved, but he'll be on the Nickelodeon broadcast as we.
he's he's yeah, he's looking forward to Pro Bowl
Yeah,
weekend.
Pro Bowl
Well,
games.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a great matchup. Whatever happens. With you and I. I just it's great being here in the Super Bowl again, year 2. Making it to the big game, and whatever outcome happens, then it is what it is. But may the best team win. The best
Yeah.
quarterback. And like I was telling Aaron Andrews yesterday, I'm studying. Don't sleep on Robert. He can hurt you in the pocket, and he can also hurt you with the scramble. So my defense is there in the film room, and they're studying tape, and as for me, as well. But like I said, I mean, we'll see what happens. But it's an honor. It's great, to be in the Super Bowl again, representing the NFC. And man, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Coverage begins 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS with who's the halftime show? In Sync. All right, that's fantasy, folks. So if you didn't understand any of that jabber, then you don't understand playing in a fantasy league. I suggest you play in one because they're fun. It makes watching the games more fun and interesting.
Oh yeah.
Except if it's your like teams. Like there was a year where I had, I don't know if it was Bucks or Pats players, and every time they came up and I was watching those games, I kind of either wanted them to do well or not do so well just based on points. So that's the only thing that sucks about fantasy, especially if you're like a diehard of your team.
Oh yeah, you want to pick them. But I'm gonna say something real quick. Like with fantasy football, I think it's so much fun, because it's also challenging. When you play versus doing like a fantasy basketball or a fantasy baseball or even hockey. I've never done hockey, but the baseball is just too much. They play a lot of games. Basketball's the same. You have all your players, star players getting hurt or whatever. So with football, if anyone listening to this, if you've never done it, do it. Sign up for it next year because it's fun and it's great. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, you want to pick your players, and it kind of sucks because when you do, I mean, you never know what happens. You never know. But
Yeah. I want to shout out, since we're talking about fantasy right now. I got a buddy. His name is Alfonso. He's got a fantasy podcast. He's always told me to shout them out on the show. It's called Backseat Fantasy. I've taken a listen to these guys. They're pretty good. Yeah, you can listen to them on Spotify. There's your shout out, Fonzie. You've asked for one. You've got it. Let's see if you can get a shout out for the 2 Minute Drive podcast for Palace and Abe here. And maybe we can do a crossover episode in season 2 next season.
that'd be great, man. If we could do that, talking about fantasy, dude, that'd be great. I'd like that.
Yeah, I'll get in contact with him. We'll work out something it's already too late in the season, but for sure next year we'll do something. All right, let's wrap up fantasy and let's get into week 17. Oh man, 2 more weeks of football and then it's playoffs. I can't believe it's already. I feel like this has been a long season. It's been fun. You most of the time it like I think it flies by, and I think it's still flying by. But I feel like it's been going at a good pace this
Right.
season. Are you ready to talk about the games this week?
Let's go in it.
All right. We're recording this on a Thursday, so it'll drop Thursday night for you folks. So currently, right now, the Amazon Prime game is going on, but we're gonna make our predictions right now. Anyway, we don't have any TVs around us, so we don't know what's going on. Right now, it's the 6-9 New York Jets traveling to face the Cleveland Browns at 10-5. Kick us off, Abe. What do you got?
Um, I'm going to go with the Browns only because of Flacco rolling with the hot hand here. The Jets defense, like we've talked about them all year, all season,
Mhm.
and they're good. But I mean, they get gassed out if they're on the field too much. So I'm going to go with the Browns here, especially at home.
The Jets were in position to win last week, no, against the Commanders, and I think they blew
They
it. It was
were,
like a huge lead.
yeah, and they only won by 2.
Yeah, I think the owners already said that Salah's coming back and the GM's coming back, so they're pretty much secure with their jobs right now. Even though like the Jets really don't have anything to play for anymore, but I think they're probably like done. So yeah, I got the Browns winning here. I think I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be because I think Wilson's still out with a concussion.
It's Simeon,
Um,
isn't it
Trevor
Simeon?
Simeon, yeah, that defense is going to carve him up. Again, we don't know what's going on, folks. So we may be getting the opposite right now. But yeah, I got the Browns winning as well. And who does
Uh,
Jaco have?
Jake Jake has the Browns.
Browns. All right. Next up, let's move into our Sunday games. New Year's Eve. This is the last episode of 2023, folks.
Oh, 2023.
Yeah, but the 2023 season's not over, so we'll be coming back in 2024, all the way up until a little bit after February. So we still got a lot to go on the 2 Minute Drive podcast. But this is the last episode of 2023. Let's start with my team, the 4-11 New England Patriots, traveling to face the 9-6 Buffalo Bills. Let me start. This is like I said, this is my team. The Pats kind of hurt themselves last week by winning against the Broncos, so they went a little bit down in the draft order. So they may not get a chance at like Caleb Williams or Drake May, depending on what happens. But I think they're going to lose this week because they're playing the more desperate team that pretty much needs to win all of their games going out, and they still need help. And the Bills, they're going to play a lot better than what they did last week against the Chargers, and it's a rivalry game. And I just don't think the Patriots have enough here to give Buffalo a good fight, even though they beat them earlier in the season. This is just a different Bills team now. I think there's going to be a lot of James Cook who is surging, and that's going to be enough to beat New England there at home. So I got the Bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills as well. I know the Pats won against Denver, which was surprising. But can you say that Zeke is helping him out now? Like now he's
Nah,
maybe a little too late, but he's more of a reliable receiver for Zappy.
you said it a little too late. I just never expected him to arrive. Period. So I mean,
Yeah, you hate anybody Cowboys.
no, I just never thought. Even like even when during his prime, I don't think I would have wanted him. I don't. He's just so arrogant. He's this little spoon gimmick. I've just never liked anything about him. He's never been in like full shape. Hasn't he always had like a belly or something like that? And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, if you're gonna be a running back, I need you in like prime, like chiseled stone, like a basically like a rock where they're not gonna be able to knock you down. And yeah, no, just from the start, I knew this wasn't gonna work, and I'm not gonna give him props now.
Oh gosh.
Cut bait,
Yeah,
clean
anyway,
house.
I got the Bills.
Got the Bills. Jake.
Jake's got the Bills.
All right, next up we got the 7-8 Atlanta Falcons traveling to face the kind of a little bit feisty Chicago Bears at 6-9. You go off. You go first, Abe.
The Falcons need this. They're still in the hunt for playoffs for the wild card.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Um, what's his name? The quarterback for the Bears is it Fields.
Fields.
Um, I honestly, Robert, I really don't think he's the issue in
No,
Chicago.
I don't think so.
I just think that they need a better coordinator and maybe like a weapon, like a receiver. But right now, I think this is a lost season for them. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Falcons because, like I said, they're more of the team that needs this win.
I'm going with the Bears based on narratives because I just they're part of the Falcons are part of the NFC South, and I want the Bucks to wrap it up this weekend because they can win a division if they win Sunday. Um, I think the Bears have been playing feisty. The Bears have kind of benefited off that trade from Washington with the defensive players that they picked up. So,
Right.
and I think they'll be feisty with this Falcons offense. It's not Ritter anymore. It's Taylor Heineke, and I was high on that kid, but I don't know. Is he going to be able to do much against this defense? I mean, maybe, but I'm going to
Hey,
stick with the home team.
hey, Robert, real quick, if the Broncos do cut Russell Wilson, think Atlanta?
Yeah, that was a spot I was thinking of. Especially with I just as a vibe, it looks like it fits. I can see like Russell's wife Sierra pushing for that. Because
Yeah.
Atlanta, Music City, like I don't know, it feels kind of right, but I don't know.
Well,
He's
not
gonna
only
he's
that,
gonna cost money.
but I mean with Bijan Robinson and with Drake London and with
Yeah,
Pitts, I mean, man, that I don't know, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got me down right. I got the Bears.
yeah, the Bears.
Jake,
Jake's got the Bears.
he just picked. He doesn't even know who's the quarterbacks.
he still thinks it's Cutler, Jake Cutler.
He thinks it's freaking Jim McMahon. He probably doesn't even know who Jim McMahon is. He thinks it's like what was that guy that got him to the Super Bowl? Oh, what was his name? Uh, it was the one against Peyton Manning. What was the quarterback's name? It was a guy. you
He
know, remember the quarterback for the Bears?
with Jake Delhomme?
No, it wasn't even him. It
No.
was some other guy. Who cares?
Uh,
Either way, next up we got the 5-10 Tennessee Titans traveling to face the Houston Texans at 8-7. Is CJ Stroud back yet or
yes, he's cleared.
cleared? Okay, and they are still in the running for division possibly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have much to say. If Stroud is back, I got the Texans winning pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Texans too. I don't have much. I think Will Levis is gonna play. I think he's coming back from an injury, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, he's. But I mean, still, I got Texans, and they're at home too.
yeah, that's another thing, and they played pretty hard with Case Keenum, so
Right.
he's kept them kind of alive, even though they lost last week. But they lost to a team that's also playing for the playoffs. So, who does Jake got in this game?
He's got the Texans.
Texans. All right, next up we got the 7-8 Las Vegas Raiders, who looked like just the greatest team last weekend, traveling to face the 8-7 Indianapolis Colts. Who do you got, Abe?
Oh, ah, man, my boy comes back, Pittman Jr.
Hmm.
I Minshew missed him. Man, I don't know, Robert. I mean, it's hard
You
now
don't
because
know.
because for the past 2 weeks, the Raiders defense has just been
And actually, you know what? The Raiders actually, I was looking up. I think if they win out, and I think if the Chiefs drop the last two games, which is possible given the way they're playing, the Raiders will win the division. What a
with the
world! What a
who's
world!
who's who's what's the coach name again for the
Antonio
Raiders?
Pierce.
Antonio Pierce,
Yeah,
former Giant. I'm gonna go with the Colts. They're at home. They're gonna get Pittman Jr. back. And they also just got back the running back Taylor.
yeah,
So he played last week, but now he'll be healthier. So I'm gonna go with the Colts.
yeah. I'm gonna go with the Colts as well. I think the Raiders had the biggest win of their franchise last week, and they're all running high on that. And I think they'll come back down to earth here. I mean, Steichen will have a game plan ready for this defense unless Max Crosby decides to just ruin everything. But I can see the Colts having multiple ways to get to a victory here, and they'll come through. Who does Jake got?
The Colts.
Man, all he's picking is our home teams. Jeez. All right. Next up, we got the 2-3 Carolina Panthers traveling to face the 8-7 flailing Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think I read up today that Trevor Lawrence was limited in practice, so it's not
Yeah.
sure that he's going to play. Even then, he's not 100%, as is the case with most players. But right now, he's really banged up. This is not a good spot for the Jaguars, but they're playing a team that's kind of already really out of it. Um, I think if Lawrence plays, even if he's able to be decent, they'll win. But if it were any other team, I wouldn't pick the Jaguars at all. But based on who they're playing, that's the only reason I'm picking them. I could be wrong.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to go with the Panthers. I just think that the Jaguars fell off. I think all hope is lost maybe this year. It sucks. Just right now, Joe Flacco threw a 43-yard pass to Njoku. So
Well,
the Browns are up. I just got that little alert. I'm going to go Panthers here. Just out of a limb. I don't have much to say on this one.
okay. Jake,
Jake's got the Jaguars.
piece of shit. He should be. He should always pick because I mean he ends up. He's probably gonna end up unless Trevor Lawrence is out for the season. He's gonna win the bet with me for the stats award for best season between Dak and Trevor. Dak is just having an incredible season, so I may end up losing that bet.
Yeah, you already lost one already too.
Mm. Oh well,
The
can't win
Ravens
them
and
all. Not even Brady could win them all.
no, don't you give that shit because you're like, oh man, nobody, you and Doofus can't do anything. Yeah, I already won. I won some bets already.
Mm. All right, next up we got the 8-7 Los Angeles Rams, another team that's kind of surging right now, traveling to face the 5-10 New York Giants. Who do you got, Abe?
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I don't have much to say. I do like that the Giants went from that piece of shit DeVito to Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
He got the ball moving a little bit when it was close too with the Eagles. I think it was
yeah,
what they lost by like 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't know.
yeah.
Uh, but I'm gonna go with the Rams though because, like you said, they're rising and they're actually in the hunt as well. So I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Yeah, Stafford's playing really good ball. I got to give them their credit. I know I'm not really a Sean McVay guy, or I do love Cooper Cup a lot, and especially this new rookie Puka Nakua, who's just I think he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year if it's not just based on he's been consistent all year. I would have given it to Stroud, but he's been out a couple of games, so I think this is really Puka's award to lose. Um, yeah, man, they're peaking at the right time, and they are in the playoffs right now currently. They're also another scary team that you don't want to play, especially if they're heating up right now. And I know they're going to be on the road here, but I got them winning as well. Who does Jake got?
He's got the Rams.
He doesn't believe in. He probably thinks it's Tommy DeVito still. All right, next up we got the 3-12 Arizona Cardinals traveling to face the Philadelphia Eagles at 11-4. I don't have much on this one. I think the Eagles. I think they'll figure it out in this one, and then they'll play the Giants again, and I think it'll be close because it's division, and they'll make it kind of interesting for the final game of the season. But I think here they'll play well enough, and they'll I think they'll win handily in this game. So I got the Eagles big.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. Like I said, Kyler Murray is out with he didn't practice second day in a row.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm gonna go Eagles. I think the Cardinals are just nah. I think they're shooting for Marvin Harrison, right?
yeah. I mean, I think they're either second or third on the draft order.
Yeah,
Who does Jake got?
he's got the Eagles.
Okay, folks, here's where I'm going to call out Jake because this is a bunch of bullshit. Because I know he wants the Eagles to lose because for the narrative for his Cowboys. But the reason he's picking them because he knows they're the better team, and also he knows he needs to get more wins on his docket for the standings. So don't believe him when he picks the Eagles because he thinks they're the better team. It's for standings reasons, and he wants the Eagles to lose. So he's not slick. Nice fucking try, the way he says all the time. No, this is nice try. I see right through you. You're not slick. All right, enough of that rant. Next up is my other team, the 7-8 Saints, traveling to face my Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 8-7. Let me go off here. The first matchup between these two was actually when we were up in Dallas for the Cowboys Patriots game. And
Right.
I was watching that game in the hotel room. That was the one I was glued into. And this was the first sign of like, man, the Bucks could be really good because they are usually manhandled by the Saints in the regular season. That was even with Brady. Like the Saints just own the Bucks, and the Bucks play tremendous football. And this was in New Orleans. This time they're going to be at home. If the Bucks win, they win the division. So this is, and if they can keep up the way they've been playing the last like 2-3 weeks offensively, and the defense, if they can disrupt Derek Carr and all that, I think it's going to look good. So I'm riding on this wave right now. I know they're not a great team, but they're spicy right now. They're heating up. I got the Bucks.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks as well. I don't, the Saints. I think it's Carr, right? Derek Carr is
Yeah.
still the quarterback. Ah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks, especially them at home. So I got Bucks.
I just want to say for the record, if the Bucks win the division, they should have like their social media person like point out all like the preseason picks from all the journalists, all the media, because everyone had the Bucks like in fourth place. They had them like as the worst team this year, and I don't know how they were able to come to that, even with them still having like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and the defense has always been pretty formidable. Their defensive line is good with Vita Vea. Their offensive line with Tristan Wirfs. Like, in what world were they thinking that they were a fourth place team? Like, I don't get. Was it just based on Baker?
Probably.
Shit. But
Probably.
if they win the division, they really should do something like that. The Chargers social media team is really good about doing stuff like this. They should really come up with something like that because nobody believed in this team. And even the show that I watched, the Herd with Colin Coward, like I'm so pissed at them because at both of them, Coward and Jason McIntyre, because now they're starting to jump on the little bandwagon of theirs without even admitting that they were completely wrong about this team. So that's what pisses me off. Like, at least admit you were wrong. Like, at least do that. Like, don't pretend like you didn't. Like, they were like before the season even started, Abe. They were both like, "Oh, this team's gonna like at the draft deadline, they're gonna sell away all their pieces and they're gonna tank for Caleb Williams or whatever. Like, they're nothing. They're not gonna do anything." And then every little week, like they just, and still to this day, they don't acknowledge that they were wrong. But they're starting to kind of, they think they're now like, because they're starting to cover them now a little bit more, that they think that they're ahead of it. It's like, nah, fuck you guys. Like, I love watching that show. It's my favorite show. But man, they really whiffed on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, rant over. Okay, who does Jake got in this matchup?
Bucks.
Bucks. All right, next up we got the 11-4 San Francisco 49ers traveling to face the Washington Commanders at 4-11. Let me go off here because let me talk about the San Francisco 49ers a little bit. And all of you, most of you like that listen to this, you're probably Cowboys fans. Please sell your 49ers stock, all of you. I know you all are, and Jake's pounding his chest too with the 49ers were exposed. No, this was an island game. It was, I mean, the Raven. I'm going to give the Ravens all their credit, but please sell all your Niners stock at your own risk because this team to me is still the best team in the NFC. This is still the team to beat. Unless somebody goes out like for the season, this is the team to beat. They're going to come back strong. They're going to be angry. They're going to be pissed off because I'm sure they're hearing it from everybody how they were exposed or whatever. So that's all I'm going to say. Fair warning. Sell your stock at your own risk. San Francisco 49ers big.
I'm going to go with the 49ers as well. I think the Commanders, I mean, Brissett, they should have started this guy in the very beginning. I think maybe there'd be some kind of playoff hope there. But 49ers are going to come back. They're going to be mad. They're going to take it out on the Commanders. I'm going to go with the Niners on this one.
And who does Jake got?
Jaco, he's got the 49ers.
And again, I'm going to call him out because he doesn't want the 49ers to win, right? He calls them like Fugazi's exposed, but yet he picks them. Like, what is that? Like, you're telling on yourself, bro. Like, you have narratives. You're picking them based on standings only. And I don't give a shit if he's not here to defend himself. I'm going to call him out. Not my fault that he's not here. We have a show to run. The show goes on. And my opinions and thoughts do not stop if you're not here. So He doesn't believe in the 49ers, but he's picking them. So that is very sus. Okay. Red flag, as the kiddos like to say these days. All right. All right. Next up, we got the 8-7 Pittsburgh Steelers, who won last week. Shit. Like I had them losing last week. Traveling to face the Seattle Seahawks at 8-7. Both teams still vying for playoff position. This is a good one here.
Yeah, it is. I'll go ahead and I'll kick us off on this one. I think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win with what's going on here. The Seahawks are going to win against the Steelers. I don't know, man. I'm kind of is Pickett coming back for the Steelers?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like that guy anyway. Who is the one right now though? Who is the backup?
It was Mason
Oh,
Rudolph.
Rudolph. Yeah, not a bad player. I mean, he was decent, better than Trubisky.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
That's what I'm saying. Like I forgot who they played last week, but I didn't have them winning, and they ended up smashing whoever it was that they played.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't even know who it was, but
I have
they
to. Yeah,
surprised.
I
I think it
was.
might have been Cincinnati. No.
Yeah, it was. There you go, Cincinnati. Yeah, it was Cincinnati. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks on this one. I feel like they're the better team, and they're also playing at home.
Oof. I'm a little torn here. Um, I do really still like the Steelers defense, and I think them against whether it's Geno or Drew Lock or whoever. I know the Seahawks had that magical game against the Eagles, but that was one game. Um, I'm gonna pick the Steelers here on the road. For some reason, they're always at above 500 or more, so I think that trend continues, and I think they're playing inspired football because there's all that talk of Tomlin leaving and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, I get the Steelers here, but I'm not confident in that pick, but I'm gonna pick them.
Just an update right now. The Browns just did a pick six right now.
What's the score?
It is now 19-7 before
Oh wow, the Jets actually scored a touchdown.
yeah, man.
Okay.
God, and I have the Jets defense playing. Ah, shit.
Okay. All right. So you got the Seahawks. I got the Steelers. Who does Jake got?
He's got the Seahawks.
He's just picking the home team. He doesn't even know who's fucking playing. I mean, God bless. All right. Next up, we got the 5-10 Los Angeles Chargers traveling to face the 7-8 Denver Broncos. This might be the worst game of the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't really have much to say. I'm gonna pick the Chargers.
Um, I'm gonna say there's a spark here. Denver wins, but I don't think it's not a put a game on the TV screen type. I'll just have to look up the score. I'll go with the Broncos.
Broncos. Yeah, Jake's got Broncos as well.
Again, he doesn't know what's going on. He's just picking the home team. He probably thinks
Yeah,
Russell's still playing.
he thinks Demarcus Lawrence or Demarcus Ware is
He
on
thinks
the
Peyton Manning's the quarterback.
team.
All right, next up we got the 8-7 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to face the 9-6 Kansas City Chiefs. I'm curious to
let me
see who you got here, Abe.
let me kick this off. I think the Bengals defense is not, it's still good. They're a good defense. And I think the Chiefs, their problems that they have going on is just going to be a factor again. It's going to play a factor. I'm going to go with the Bengals here.
Okay. Um, I think it got about as bad as it can get for the Chiefs this season. I mean, other than getting bounced out in the first round of the playoffs, but that's playoffs. But I'm talking regular season. I think they've hit rock bottom as far as like as bad of a loss as they can get. They'll bounce back here. I'm not going to be a total like homer hater on them. Um, so I'll pick them this week, but I think Cincinnati will give them a good fight because Arrowhead is not scary to play at right now.
Yeah, not right now.
Jake,
He's got the Chiefs.
of course, because as long as you got Mahomes, that's all you need, right, Jake? Unless you're actually watching the games, which I know you're not. It's okay.
Uh,
I'm fine. I'm no mercy anymore for me. I'm sorry, man. No mercy for me. All right, next up, it's the Sunday night game on NBC. This is a weird one. They could have maybe put Saints Bucks could have been in this spot. You could have put Ravens Dolphins, but they decided to go with the 7-8 Green Bay Packers traveling to face the Minnesota Vikings at 7-8. Real quickly here on the Vikings, they lost Hodgkinson for the season,
Yeah.
their tight end. So um, I know the other thing is like Nick Mullins is not the guy for quarterback, and I think that's who is still going to
Yeah.
be the quarterback for the Vikings. Um,
Mullins.
yeah, I got the Packers here. I don't have much to say on it.
For narrative reasons, I'm going to go with the Packers as well. Um,
What's your narrative?
well, I mean, the Vikings missed the playoffs.
Oh, right, right. Our
Yeah,
other wager.
they're still in the hunt. So,
Mm.
I'm going to go with the Packers on this one.
Yeah, brain picks Packers, but I hope my heart wants the Vikings to win. Yes, so I can win this wager. There is no Monday night game this week, so let's go back to our games of the week. Let's start off with my game, which will actually that'll be the game the Monday night crew is with Abe Aikman and Robert Buck on the call Saturday night. The 11 This is my game of the week, by the way. The 11-4 Detroit Lions traveling to face the Dallas Cowboys at 10-5, the best home record I believe in the league the Cowboys have. So this is the ultimate test I believe in the season for the Detroit Lions to this point. Um, Similar style like of teams where they can put up a bunch of numbers. They can smash you. They can. The difference is though this Lions team can win different ways. They can win from behind. They can win with a big lead. They can win close ones. Dallas only knows how to win one way. I have yet to see them come from behind, even though Jake likes to brag about how Dak's like this great come from behind quarterback. I've never seen it. Um, so I'm curious to see how this one's going to go. I think the Lions are going to go up big here, but then I think Dallas will make it close. But ultimately, Detroit, I think, will pull it off, and we're going to start to look at the Lions as a possible number one seed here. So I'm going Lions.
Nice.
Come on, be real, Abe. I don't want to
The
get. Tell me,
you
tell me how this game really is going to go.
you said it. You said it just now that the Cowboys have the best record when they play at home, right?
Right.
Um, the past two games, man, I feel like should have been a blur. I don't know, felt like a blur, but being annihilated by the Bills and then losing by 2 points to the Dolphins, you kind of think that the Cowboys are going to come back. They're going to be at home. They're going to have the home crowd, and they're going to be hyped. They're going to want to win this game. But I'm going to tell you why the Lions are going to win the game because the way they're playing. I'm telling you right now, Robert. Goff. I think Goff is the better quarterback here than Dak. Um, if we have to go with receiver to receiver matchup, I think St. Brown is the better receiver than Lamb.
Uh-huh.
Gibbs, I don't know if you've seen that kid play, Jameer Gibbs, that
Yeah.
running back, dude. I'm gonna tell you something,
And that's the
Robert.
recipe, no, to beat Dallas is to run on them.
Yeah, and they've got that with Montgomery and Gibbs. So there's no way in hell. I feel like this is gonna be a repeat, like a this is
The
gonna be a
Buffalo.
repeat. Yep, I think Gibbs and Montgomery are gonna run all over that defense. St. Brown he's gonna be productive. Also, don't forget about Laporta. He's
Yeah.
that rookie tight end.
Yeah.
It's too much, Robert. Too much. And the Cowboys defense, like I said, it's on or off. And I think right now what did I told you they were going to lose to the Bills, they were going to lose to the Dolphins, they're going to lose to the Lions. I told you this.
So right now they're what in this stretch because they beat the Eagles in this stretch. It was
So they're
Eagles. They're 1-3, or no?
one,
Or they're gonna go
one
one
and
and
two. They're
one and
one and
two.
two,
Sorry,
but
one and
they're going
two.
to go 1-3. And I told you that the other guy. Oh no, they're going to go. What is it, 5-0? And I was like, shut up. No.
So Jake's narrative is for some reason if it's this team that they lose to, now it's like panic mode. But he keeps moving the goalposts, so that remains to be seen. He said the Miami lost it in count. He said the Philadelphia lost it in count. He said the Niners lost it in count. So I don't know what it is with this guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm done talking Cowboys with him because you just can't reason with him. He'll move the goalpost. How come all of a sudden it's Detroit that makes you panic? Like they haven't
Yeah.
even been like consistent all year. So I don't get that. So he's bullshitting. He doesn't know what he's saying, and he'll find a way to move the goalposts. He'll be like, oh well, I'm just gonna wait for playoffs. That's how much you want to bet Abe, that's going to be his answer if the Lions win. None of this panic mode. He's just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to wait for the playoffs.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Very
And
predictable.
or he'll say, "Well, we made the playoffs, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It matters in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
all." What
That's and again, I called him on this. Like, you're going to move the goalpost. Just watch. So yeah. And I guess who does Jake have for this game, Abe?
Cowboys?
Uh, he has yet to pick against them all season, right?
Nope, nope, he has not.
My goodness. All right. Now let's get to your game of the week, Abe, which surprisingly this one's going to be at noon on New Year's Eve. I thought this would have been a night game. It's the
Right.
11-4 Miami Dolphins traveling to face the 12-3 Baltimore Ravens. This is for the number one seed in the AFC.
Um. So both of these teams, right? The Dolphins were able to beat a decent team over 500, right? And the
Uh-huh.
Cowboys. The next matchup for the Ravens was, can they beat the 49ers?
Yeah.
Both of these teams did that. Um, the Dolphins defense isn't, great. The Ravens defense, we talked about this earlier. Their defense is really good. But this is Tua versus Lamar, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta go, and they're at home in Baltimore, so that stadium's pretty loud, Robert.
Yeah.
Um, I think that and the Dolphins, I mean, they have Tyreek Hill and all that, but I think the Ravens can shut him down because I didn't hear much about Ayuk, Kittle, or Samuel, and I think CMC was a little bit, he did something, he got a touchdown,
Yeah. Yeah.
but other than that, everybody else was kind of like they didn't hear about him. I think this is going to be the same outcome here. I think the Ravens will shut down Hill. He might have some catches here and there, but with Mostert, kind of gimpy, the run game may not be there. So that's going to force Tua to have to make some throws or do some moves with his legs. I'm going to go with the Ravens, though.
Um, I'm just gonna keep it spicy and competitive here. I want to see the Dolphins win this game too, just to kind of keep the AFC a little bit more competitive and kind of like go 1 week this way, 1 week the other. Um, I haven't researched Baltimore's secondary yet, but if Tyreek and those guys can get the speed on them and make plays and break away and get some touchdowns out of it, I hope this is a high scoring game, to be honest. Like, I really have no stakes in this game, so when I'm watching it, like, yes, I'll have a pick in it, but I really want it to be like one of those games of the year where it's just like it's 35-35 in the fourth quarter. Who's going to make like a play? I want it to be that kind of game. I don't want it to be like the Niners Ravens game where it was just a beat down. It's like, nah,
Right.
that's not fun. I want a fun, good matchup. I mean, that could easily be the Lions Cowboys, who knows? But I'm thinking it'll be this one that'll be the high scoring game, and I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
All right.
Did you, real quickly, off topic, but it still involves the Dolphins? Did you see that video of Mike McDaniel? Dan Marino's like a couple of feet away from him. I think he was being celebrated for something, and he was like, "Hey, Dan Marino, they're gonna break all your fucking records." And
Oh,
like, he
yeah.
was just being a goof, man. Like, I love this guy. This guy's such a fun coach. He's such good content.
Yeah, he's yeah.
He's
I
a
saw some
goof,
stuff
man.
and I was like, oh my gosh.
Um, Speaking of the Ravens, Lamar pretty much locked up the MVP, right?
I think so. And we talked about this on the last episode where you said that, Lamar's going to have to win and beat the Niners in order to kind of, stay in that talk or
Yeah,
be like the front runner.
yeah. And I know he doesn't have the stats, but as I've told Jake, the MVP is not a stats award. It's most valuable player. And you take away Lamar from the Ravens team, they're nothing. Like, they really are nothing. Like, he's the it factor. He's the one you can't really prepare for. And again, I brought up this stat on this show before, but he was 19-1 against the NFC, so they don't know how to prepare for him because they don't play him all the time. So that was another thing that I should have factored in my analysis last week. But I just thought the Niners were just that good, and I still think they're that good. But Lamar proved otherwise, and that's why he's the MVP.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
And who does Jake have for this last pick?
The Ravens.
Ravens. Okay. That's all of week 17. We ran through all the games.
All right.
Do you want to run the socials here before we sign off for the evening?
Yeah, real quick on the email, it is 2 Minute Drive Podcast. That is the number two spelled out, TWO, Minute Drive Podcast at Outlook.com. We're not getting, we need some love there, man, on that email. Maybe season two, we'll kick it off and hopefully get more people to email and give us some stuff, or what they think or whatever on games. Our X account is at UR Roughness Podcast. That's letter U and then Roughness Pod. And then, of course, Robert runs the Facebook and Jake runs the Instagram accounts. They're the 2 Minute Drive Podcast. Other than that, that's it, Robert.
All right, man. Well, this is the last episode of the year. So I just want to wish our entire audience a happy new year. Be safe in whatever your festivities and plans and what you got. Just be safe. And coming into the new year, we're going to start off strong. Abe, have a good new year with your family and all that stuff. And then get ready to go next week because it's going to be crunch time and playoffs are coming. And we'll see what kind of trash talking we're going to do after our week 1 of 2 in our Super Bowl fantasy matchup. So we'll give you an update on how our teams are doing against each other. And
Yeah,
Jaco should be back next week. So
definitely. Happy New Year to you and your family as well, Robert. All of us here from the Palace Productions, wishing everyone a Happy New Year. Being safe with the fireworks and drinking. If you're gonna drink, take an Uber or a Lyft or just stay where you're at, man. If you're drinking at home, that's great. But everyone be safe. Robert, we got more football for the new year, and then of course our matchup with the Super Bowl, exciting. So I'm excited. So we'll be back next week.
yeah, still a lot of episodes to come here for this season. But for right now, this is the end of 2023. For Abraham Trevino, I'm Palace. We're signing off for this week's episode. Take care and God bless you guys.